5-year-old girl disappears.
This is a child who was a ghost.
No one searching for her until 2 years have passed.
Where is the justice?
Now growing calls for more to be done.
We need more people coming forward, more people passing flyers out.
Boston 25 News is asking what went wrong and what needs to change so this doesn't happen to another child. In this special report, searching for Harmony Montgomery.
Thanks for joining us. I'm Carrie Kavanaugh. The case of Harmony Montgomery left all of us asking questions. Who was supposed to be protecting this little girl? How did she go off the radar of 2 state agencies for 2 years before search began? We're digging deeper into those questions. But first, let's begin with where this case stands right now.
Manchester Police received the report this week.
New Year's Eve, we first learned Manchester, New Hampshire police are in a desperate search for Harmony Montgomery, a child no one's seen for 2 years.
So there's many questions that need to be answered from 2019 to where we are December 31st, 2021. And we are working to get those answers.
25 Investigates began examining Harmony's young life. The girl bounced between her mother, who struggles with addiction, and DCF foster care in Massachusetts.
We're coming, we're gonna bring her home.
Mom, Crystal Sori, lost custody of Harmony in 2018. A court granted custody to her father, Adam Montgomery, in February 2019. We uncovered his long criminal record. In New Hampshire, charges from 2007 include burglary, first-degree assault, stalking. In Massachusetts, we found a 2014 case in Haverhill charging Montgomery with armed robbery and assault with intent to murder. And sources tell our Bob Ward he's the suspect in an unsolved murder in Lynn. Harmony's mother claims she last saw her on a FaceTime call with Adam Easter 2019. She says she's been trying for months to find her, finally writing these emails to Manchester's mayor, saying DCYF failed my child 100%. We will be following up on a lawsuit with the state of New Hampshire if anything has happened to my daughter due to negligence on their part.
Ms. Montgomery will not be appearing in the courtroom today.
January 4th, Adam Montgomery is arrested, charged with assault after a relative claims Adam admitted giving Harmony a black eye in 2019. The next day, his estranged wife, Kayla Montgomery, also arrested, charged with using food stamps meant for Harmony while she was missing. Adam and Kayla remain behind bars. Police searched the Manchester home where they last lived with Harmony, finding nothing.
Do you think Harmony's still alive?
I hope and pray she's still alive.
Tips pouring in, a reward growing. Still, no sign of Harmony.
People have different motivators in their life, so if money is one of them, then come forward with some relevant and viable information.
I don't know who this judge was, putting that child, that little girl, in the custody of that monster.
That right there, New Hampshire's Governor Chris Sununu slamming the Massachusetts court decision that sent Harmony off to the custody of her father. 25 Investigates was first to report there was no legal agreement in place between the states requiring any check-ins on Harmony or her dad. A retired longtime juvenile court judge told me that's highly unusual.
I think there was a system failure here. This is a child who was a ghost.
Retired Suffolk County Juvenile Court Judge Terry Craven says Adam Montgomery's criminal record wouldn't automatically rule him out of getting custody of Harmony, but typically a court ensures some safeguards are in place.
As soon as he steps forward, their regulations allow them to get the ICPC started with New Hampshire.
An ICPC, or Interstate Compact for the Placement of Children, is an agreement between 2 states that would identify what those safeguards would be. But according to a letter from New Hampshire Governor Sununu to Massachusetts courts, in December 2018, the Massachusetts Department of Children and Families requested that New Hampshire DCYF conduct a home study of Adam Montgomery and his then-wife, Kayla Montgomery. But while NHDCYF was waiting for the necessary information, a court in Lawrence, Massachusetts abruptly gave sole custody of Harmony to her father in February of 2019. So there wasn't a prior home study before Harmony left the care of DCF and ultimately the state of Massachusetts.
Ever in your 18.5 years on the bench, do you recall sending a child out of state without one of these ICPCs?
I don't recall ever doing it. A judge is the finder of facts, and we're only as good as the facts that are presented to us and we can weed through.
Do you think your legislature should take a look at the process here and not let a child leave DCF care without a home study completed?
I think we should let the Office of the Child Advocate do her job. This is 100% an independent review, and I want to see the results of that review as much as Governor Sununu and everybody else does.
But 25 Investigates also uncovered police and DCYF were at Harmony's Manchester home multiple times in 2019. New Hampshire authorities did know Harmony was in their state.
Everybody's angry, and at the end of the day, you have to be transparent about it. You have to get to the bottom of it. But it all started with that judge.
25 Investigates has learned the identity of the judge in question here, but we're not releasing it until we know more about the information that was presented before the court in this case. Of course, relatives of Harmony Montgomery say they sounded the alarm about her well-being months ago. We'll hear from Harmony's mother in an extended interview in just a few minutes. But first, our team of reporters has been talking to many family members. Reporter Jason Law spoke with Harmony's maternal grandfather, who told us he reached out to authorities for help.
The system's failed. I have called numerous times, and I have it on my phone.
Jason also spoke with Harmony's great uncle, who reported her black eye to police. The mother of Kayla Montgomery here, that's Harmony's stepmom, says she too raised red flags. And our Bob Ward caught up with Harmony's great aunt, Erin Montgomery, as she was hanging flyers.
My family made numerous reports of concern for her safety, and the system did nothing, and they left her there.
So what did authorities in New Hampshire know and when? 25 Investigates pulled court and police records showing DCYF and police had several interactions with Harmony and her family. We shared that information with lawmakers and the New Hampshire Child Advocate.
Police reports show in the 5 months between June and November of 2019, police were called to the Guilford Street address in Manchester where Harmony was last seen 14 times, mostly for domestic violence, animal, and building complaints. In one call, a neighbor expressed concern for child welfare, saying parents seemed to be squatting and trash was everywhere. But according to the police report, DCYF checked things out and said, quote, they're healthy, and quote, all is well. We asked the New Hampshire Child Advocate if she's concerned about those visits. According to those reports, DCYF was at that home in August and October of 2019. And of course, Harmony is presumably gone missing by November of that year. So as the child advocate, are you asking about the follow-up, the DCYF follow-up in those instances after those visits?
Yeah, so again, I can't comment on this case. I can tell you that if there's something that's happened to a child that's been reported to us in a critical incident, we would look at the history of DCYF's involvement in the family, and we would look at whether or not, what they were there for and what they did, and whether or not they met the standard and the legal obligation of the agency there.
Massachusetts State Rep Marjorie Decker, one of several lawmakers across New England, saying this case shows the need for better protection for children.
We're always looking at the lenses of, trying to find a biological parent to ensure that that parent has the opportunity to maintain a connection with the child, which is important. But what has to become equally important is what's in the best interest of the child.
As we look back at what happened, the search for Harmony continues. Manchester police set up a tip line. The number is right there on your screen. We're going to show this to you throughout our special. The reward for information leading to Harmony is close to $150,000 right now. My colleague Bob Ward is joining us now. He's been in Manchester covering this case throughout the month. Bob, you just broke a major development this week in this case. The father here, Adam Montgomery, the prime suspect in an unsolved murder in Lynn.
Well, what an eye-opener this was. What we've learned is that back in 2008, in February 2008, Adam Montgomery allegedly was involved in a homicide in Lynn outside of a convenience store on February 10th. Now, we're just learning this information, and what Lynn police are telling me is that ever since, almost from day one, Adam Montgomery has been a suspect in this case. So what happened was a 28-year-old victim here was found shot to death in the parking lot of that what was once a White Hen convenience store. There was a description of a man that got away in a car, but authorities say that they have a circumstantial case here and that that Adam and 2 members of his family had crossed paths with the victim earlier in the day and had made plans to meet up again at that convenience store. And the result of that was this deadly gunfire. He has been on the radar of law enforcement since 2008, but until now they have not been able to put this all together.
And not many people would have known of that, right? Including the judge that made the custody decision.
The only people that would know about this would be the investigators on the case, maybe a prosecutor, but it would not rise beyond that. That's why we haven't known about this.
So many twists and turns ever since we learned about who Harmony Montgomery is. You have covered so many missing person cases involving children. What about this one stands out to you?
Well, let's start with the fact that this little girl's been missing for 2 years, and the 2 adults that are closest to her didn't report her missing, and she's been out there all this time. I've never in all my career have come up against anything like this. And then those same 2 people to this day, as far as we know, refusing to speak about her whereabouts. This is just beyond frustrating for us as reporters, but also for everyone else who's involved with this case.
This is touching people all over the country.
Sure,
people across the country donating to a reward for information, now around $150,000.
Amazing.
Can this money help?
It sure can help. I mean, in other cases, rewards do help. And you kind of wonder, what is the magic dollar figure where somebody finally steps forward? But you never know, because the thing is that all this attention that's paid to a reward, that as it grows, means more people find out about the case, and that might spur somebody on to speak. You know, it definitely helped in Whitey Bulger's case. Maybe it can finally help here with Harmony's case.
And it could be one small thing.
Anything that any of them said, that Adam said, that Kayla said about what happened back then could be vital information about where Harmony is right now.
We hope people come forward. I want to thank Boston 25's Bob Ward, as always, uncovering really significant information here. Thank you for your perspective and hard work on this case so far.
You got it.
Again, if you have information that could help find Harmony, call the tip line right here on your screen. You can also find it on our website. So she's been pleading for someone to come forward with information about her daughter's disappearance. Boston 25 News reporter Jason Law spoke with Crystal Sorey about the investigation, the public criticism, and what she fears the most.
This whole thing's been tough. You know, people are constantly judging me. I'm under a microscope right now.
Crystal Sorey says she doesn't know what happened to her daughter, Harmony. She insists she tried to help her, but feels like her concerns weren't taken seriously because she's a recovering addict.
Everybody out there who's following this case, you know, the big question is how could 2 years go by before anything was done about Harmony's disappearance? What do you say to that? What's your response to that?
My response is, when you're an addict in recovery and you've lost custody of your child, but you have visitations, they don't listen to you. They look at you like you're an addict.
Crystal said she's cooperated with police since the beginning.
What do you think people's perceptions are of you, and do you think it's fair?
As far as people judging me, it doesn't bother me. I know the truth. I know what all I did to try and find her and report. Like, I know what I did. I'm always going to own my mistakes. Like, I'm not going to sit here and say I never played a part in it, because I did. I know I did. You know, I messed up. And if I never lost her, we wouldn't be here either.
Crystal Sorey says the last time she saw her daughter Harmony was in the spring of 2019 during a FaceTime call with Harmony's father, Adam Montgomery.
What was the last FaceTime like during Easter of 2019?
Chaotic. He kept muting it. She just looked terrified and lost. Her whole entire body language had shifted in 2 months of him having her. She went from being like my happy, like talkative, funny, sassy little girl to a shell of Harmony.
Does it break your heart to think about that FaceTime?
Every minute.
Because that was the last time you saw her.
Yeah, and like, I just wish that I could have said more to her, you know? I just wish that I could have said to her, like, no matter what Daddy says to you, no matter what he does, I will never stop fighting for you. Never.
When did you first realize Harmony may be in danger?
I right away had a bad feeling because of how he was acting on the in the visits, FaceTimes. He was muting it, yelling at her, telling her what to say, what not to say. It was all suspicious to me, all of it.
Since 2019, Crystal says she's called Child Protection Services in both Massachusetts and New Hampshire more than 24 times. Court documents show it was Crystal's phone call to police in November that finally got the ball rolling. Manchester investigators soon got more involved in searching for Harmony.
How do you think this is going to end? I mean, are you worried there's a possibility you may never know what happened to Harmony?
Oh yeah, I worry that I'm gonna wonder where she is for the rest of my life.
Boston 25 Washington correspondent Blair Miller has a personal connection to the Harmony Montgomery case. One of his 3 adopted sons is Harmony's brother. I recently spoke with him about the many questions his family now has.
Harmony is Jameson's sister, and so they had this relationship in foster care before we adopted Jameson. And when we adopted Jameson, he's been very well aware of his relationship with Harmony. Just a few weeks ago, we were at a park, and he said to a little girl, "You're Harmony, my sister." So he has a very close relationship, or he at least did, and when they're in foster care. And we've tried to keep that relationship going, but it's been very, very difficult over the years.
So you have not seen her since you or ever really, right, Blair?
Yeah, we never met her. Okay. And when we were going through the adoption process, we quickly learned about Harmony and learned about his background, his closeness with her. And we have a close relationship with Jameson's mom, who is also Harmony's mom. And we've always said, how can we get in touch with Harmony? Because this is a close part of Jameson's relationship and something that we wanted to continue. And we just haven't had any luck. It's obviously very heartbreaking.
I know you've reached out to investigators in New Hampshire trying to help them in any way. What have they shared with you about their investigation to this point?
You know, we spent some time talking with Manchester Police yesterday and just wanted to see how can we help. And a lot of what we've been sharing with them is information that we've collected over the years, really trying to piece together a timeline of, you know, where we've been told Harmony has been over the last couple of years and trying to be helpful in any aspect we can. You know, we're eager for information just like everybody else. And we've been just, you know, asking how can we help? And what can we do? And is there something we know that can, you know, that we unknowingly could help find her? And, you know, right now it seems like they're trying to get the answers just as much as we can. You know, it's interesting because I'm looking at this from a reporter standpoint, but also, you know, as a father standpoint, and just trying to think about it from really Jameson's perspective.
And Blair says DCF told him at the time adopting Harmony was not an option because she had been reunited with her biological father and the case was closed. Since she hasn't been seen for 2 years, many are concerned the trail has gone cold. Boston 25's Bob Ward tells us investigators do have several ways to find new leads.
In Manchester, New Hampshire, Harmony Montgomery's image is everywhere, but the little girl is lost. Her biological father, Adam, and his estranged wife, Kayla, are not talking to police. Even a multi-day FBI search and a 6-figure reward have not led to Harmony's recovery. To those of us on the outside, the search for Harmony Montgomery might look like a search for a needle in a haystack, but retired Boston Police Chief Dan Linsky tells me this search may be difficult, but it's not impossible. Linsky believes the trail to find Harmony runs through Adam and Kayla Montgomery. Right now, both are in jail.
How important is the timeline in this 2 years out?
It's very important to try and narrow down that, you know, exact time when the loss occurred, when she was last seen by folks. There's only so many places they could have gone and been.
Linsky tells me Adam and Kayla's cell phone activity, their emails, their social media accounts will help investigators pinpoint where they were at around the time Harmony was last seen and provide new areas to search. But there's more to it. Both Adam and Kayla battled substance abuse, and Linsky tells me that's a world that could provide valuable new leads.
People say things in the world of drugs and narcotics and criminal associates that they don't say to others. And sometimes it takes motivation to have those people come forward. So if I was in charge of investigating this case, you know, my narcotics detectives would be working on people involved in the narcotics trade who might have interacted with these folks.
Do you think we're going to find her? You think 2 years is too long?
You know, I think we always have to find them, right? And if we lose hope that we're going to find them, you know, it's hard to keep looking. So, yeah, we're going to find her.
Somewhere out there, Harmony Montgomery is just waiting to be found. I'm Bob Ward, Boston 25 News.
Again, if you have information that could help find little Harmony, please call the tip line right there on your screen. For Bob, Jason, and the entire 25 Investigates team, I'm Carrie Kavanaugh. Thank you for joining us for this special Searching for Harmony Montgomery. We're going to stay on top of this story.